I think this is great because I think that they should do something about this. It's so stupid that people can express themselves in this way and actually have a say in some sort of generally accepted or useful metric to someone, like a user score, right? Like when you go to Amazon and you rate something, that matters. People look at it. And there's those memes of like seeing something with 5 stars but 19 reviews, and then you see something with 4.5 stars but it has 40,000 reviews, and you'd rather buy the thing with 40,000 reviews because know that it's pretty reliably checked that people are buying these things and using them and whatever. And there's a more vibrant, like they see it as a valuable additive part of their service. Yeah. And Metacritic just has never tried to control the user score at all, and is instead allowed it to be used as a weapon. And it's so stupid. So I understand why people are being so conspiratorial, be about, well, Sony, it's a Sony game, so this, and I'm like, yeah, it seems a little weird, but it's not even the first Sony game that was targeted in this way. I mean, consider fucking
The Last of Us
Part
right?
2, right? I mean, that was an even bigger example of this, but I'll get more into what I think. I'll get more into the problem, and I'll put a spoiler tag on it so people can know to skip it if they want. But what do you guys think about this? Dustin, let's start with you.
Yeah, it is strange that it's happening now. And I don't know, because I think that there are some people that are bigoted and say bad stuff on these, but I think that sometimes that people don't feel like they have any other way to voice their opinion about things. And so this is a way for them to do that. And so I guess there could be a flood of positive reviews of people that support this as well, but they're not around. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what the point I'm trying to make is, but I think it's worth considering that aspect as well. But I don't know. For example, OpenCritic doesn't have user reviews at all, and it's fine. To me, I don't really find value in a user review because they're so often used and weaponized for specific reasons.
The way you deal with this is to just verify that people played the game. If you want to leave the game a 1.0 because you think it's woke, I guess that's less offensive if you fucking beat it. But people going on to these sites, having sight unseen, not having any idea what the game's about, hearing things, or just doing things to defame and hurt a game as opposed to share an earnest and honest opinion is interesting, because no game is a 1.0. I mean, a game that is a 1 is a game that's unplayable, or a 2, or it's like, so that's not even valuable. That's not even saying anything to anyone. And I find it totally insane that these sites don't do the work to try to at least have some sort of verification. And so the way I think that you could do it is to imagine a site like PSN Profiles, which is in another network, but imagine they had a site like PSN Profiles where you could upload, attach your name to it like you do with your PSN ID, and then it reads your trophies. And then through that data, once your trophy pops, that they can make little marks and little connections in the back end. So it's like, this trophy means you beat this game. This trophy means you beat this game. It would require manual input. I mean, data input on all these sites is already manual. It would just be another checkbox to do. And then you can encourage people to use that, prove that you've beaten it, and then give those scores real value. And in fact, if you did something like that, you could make the argument that those scores would become more valuable than the Metacritic score.
Yeah.
Because you actually did the work to go through things. That's why people go to Steam, right? Because you can see everything about their experience, including how much they played it.
I think it's just remarkably lame to just spend time review bombing in the first place. Like to even be in the mindset of run it. Because I don't buy the idea it's like there's no other way for people to express themselves. Like, I don't buy that this is like the only legitimate, like, because that used to be an argument where it's like, oh, well, this is the only voice that the consumer has. That's not true at all. Like, not anymore. Like, maybe that used to be true in, like, I don't know, maybe like 2011 or something. But like, there's like a million ways for the average consumer to voice themselves, especially now. Like, we have so many social media platforms. We have so many different ways to get your voice out there and be heard. And there's forums, there's Twitter, I mean, Jesus Christ, if you're a content person, there's like an infinite number of ways. Like, I just don't. That argument is mattered less and less to me as the years have gone on. And also, I just think it's just unhelpful generally, because there's no, like, Horizon. I have my own feelings about Horizon, but it's not a 3, dude. And I have a really difficult time believing that any DLC offering that they would offer up would be a 3 as well. Now you have to be so in the weeds of like very specific like back channels of the internet to even know what the fuck is wrong with it in the first place. And that to me, it's we've jumped the shark at this point where it's like, no, I don't take any of that seriously anymore.
I remember at IGN, I used to ask Pear all the time, the founder of IGN, the publisher, why don't we get rid of comments? They fucking suck. They suck. Why don't we get rid of them? They don't serve any purpose. It's because it keeps people clicking back into the stories. It drives traffic. And it's the same thing with Metascores and the user scores. It is that simple.
Yeah.
And that makes it even worse. Because when you know something is destructive towards the end product or corruptive towards things around it, the industry around it, but you do it anyway, that's a choice. And so at least they're finally making a different choice and maybe rectifying this. But I think they have to have some sort of confirmation that you played the game and then sound off. But I want to say this, guys, before we move on. And this is when I'm going to spoil the Horizon DLC, but I'm putting that in quotes because it's not really a spoiler. It's certainly not what the game's about. But I will acknowledge that people might want to
skip to the next timestamp now if you don't want to hear it, since this is the last part of this bit.
Napoleon and Rags wrote in and said, with another round of review bombing happening, this time the victim being the Burning Shores expansion, fandom and Metacritic are looking into ways to curb these hurtful user scores. Maybe it's time to eliminate scores altogether for users. Any thoughts on what can be done about review bombing? Should anything be done? The only thing that needs to be done is for people to stop being crazy about representation in video games to the point of comedy. That's like literally all you have to do. The fact that Aloy might be gay, I mean, maybe she's bisexual. I don't think they make it totally clear. I think I don't even want to say more about another game. I was going to say something else, but she kisses another girl in the game. I haven't even gotten to that point in the game, but it was spoiled for me in quotes too. I guess it's a spoiler in that sense. But what does it matter? And people say, I saw this thing, and this is why I wanted to talk about this really quick. I saw a comment just in passing somewhere, maybe on Twitter, of someone saying like, well, they'll never, where are all the gay guys kissing? Like, why wouldn't they have guys kissing? And they don't want to get that woke. And it's like, well, you're answering your own question, asshole. I mean, like, I don't know how you don't understand that.
Yeah.
I understand. Listen, dude, I totally get the idea of like fucking pride flags being shoved down your throats and every day is a day of visibility for some random sexuality and all of that. And people are tired of it. I get it. But if the bare essence of a person is, in fact, their sexuality, and gay people exist. So, of course, they're going to exist in the fiction you like. And instead of focusing on every time you see a gay person and othering that and being like, it's a gay person. Look at, why is there a gay person? It's so woke. Maybe just look at that instead as the tapestry of humanity. That there's going to be straight couples and there's going to be gay couples.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that simple. I don't get the consternation about this topic. And the reason that Nathan Drake isn't making out with a dude or something like that isn't because maybe they didn't have the idea to make one of these Sony characters gay, but it's because of the very thing you're talking about. I don't think it should be a defining feature. A person's sexuality should be like the defining feature of a person, but it matters and it's relevant. And love and relationships and caring about people, that's all part of good storytelling. So of course you're going to see and be exposed to that sort of thing. And people are acting like it's like the same, it's like the same furor as all of these other social issues that are frankly much more offensive. So that's what I wanted to say about that. I just think it's silly and stupid to expect that everything that goes against an orthodox nuclear family or something like that is woke. It's just reality. I mean, it's literally just reality.